Let's get into something you're famous for locally, should be nationally, maybe globally. Who knows? Fasting.
Yeah.
So I'll tell you my thoughts on fasting, and then you can enlighten us with your expertise. So
Sure.
because I like to be a little controversial. I mean, if you go to the doctor and he says, "Hey, you know what? You should fast more often. You should not eat as often. You should have less meals, raise your insulin less, and that'll help prevent injuries." Now, that would inevitably hurt the medical industry, the pharmaceutical industry, the food industry, and many more, right? So there's no money in the establishment telling you that you should fast. And that's one of my reasons that I realized, okay, like I should probably fast then. And I've noticed I still talk to people who are like-minded with us in terms of working out and mind, body, and spirit type of mindsets, but they can't even see like, you don't eat and you have this kinetic energy. You have this energy throughout the day and you have no food. You haven't even eaten yet. And you kind of eat yourself to sleep, so to speak. Like, how do you do that? So I guess my question for you is that the right way is there a right or wrong? Do you think that, is it better to, not eat during the day and then eat at night? Is it better to just eat a couple meals in the morning and that's it so that you can digest better at night? Like, I guess tell me your overall thoughts on fasting and the ins and outs.
Fasting is ancient and it's the most powerful healing mechanism known to man. It's a gift. You look, right? Jesus, right? Good Friday today. Jesus fasted 40 days in the desert. Buddha fasted. You look at Moses fasted. This has been around in religions forever. And it works. So with fasting, I don't believe anybody should be eating more than twice a day, unless it's an extreme situation where somebody's really got to pack on a lot of weight, like some of these strong men that have to take in 10,000 calories a day. And obviously, they're not going to do that in a meal or two. But if you're talking about 98% of the population, right, maybe 99%, I don't believe anybody should be eating more than once a day, to be honest with you. And if you look at the rhythm of the body, the ideal time to eat would be between like noon and 2 o'clock. If you just look at a circadian rhythm, that would be the ideal time. However, if you look at habits, right, you look at mind map stuff, when are most people likely to form a habit if they're doing like a 1 meal a day? For most people, they come to me, they've got families, they've got this and that. Dinner usually is the best option because if they're eating their lunch and they're never eating with their family, or their wife wants to go out to eat, you can move it around and all that. So I recommend for most people, it's a dinner time meal is the number one meal. So fasting, it's a complete game changer. It really goes to work. There's so many different health benefits, but it goes to work on the body, but then the spirit, right? To me, it's once you get into it, you get so much more in tune with that stuff, your spirit and your mind and your thoughts around it. And it challenges you in a really good way. And it will never be, I don't think, in our lifetime, maybe I'm wrong, I don't think it'll be mainstream just because of the facts that you mentioned. And I believe there's a conspiracy against fasting. Right. This used to be a very popular thing, even a couple hundred years ago. Any animal, the way they heal themselves is they fast for however long they need to, and they heal. It's nature's, it's God's put it within us. This is a natural thing. When you're sick, right, you don't feel like eating. But we've been told you got to eat, you got to do this and that. And one of my brothers had asked me if it was was there disinformation against fasting? I said, they don't need to do disinformation with fasting like all the other stuff because it's so deeply ingrained in people now that they should be eating multiple times a day, be eating a breakfast as soon as they wake up. And food's a drug. So most people are hooked on it. It doesn't matter. You can show them all the benefits of fasting. They're not going to buy it because they don't want to give up their comfort of eating whatever they want to eat.
Two most powerful drugs in America, food and caffeine.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's the thing. Anything that raises your hormones is a drug, right? So I was at a party one time and everyone's like, what drug couldn't you live without? And I was just like, food. And everyone was like, oh, and all their eyes lit up. Like, oh, you're right. Because those people, like even my daughter had it was really good. It was a very well, it was about her mind and physical and all these things for health class. And it was, balanced diet. And it was like 9 things. I had her like put it in sets of 3. So she remembered it, and it went really well. But one of them was breakfast every day. And I was like, Kyle's angry right now. I don't know where he is, but he's like, breakfast every day. Because I tried telling her that, and she doesn't want to hear it. But it's a lead by example thing, though. I'm like, hey, listen, I have a bunch of food the night before, and then I go out there and I lift at 6 a.m. and then I go play some basketball, and then I go maybe lift again, maybe go play some or I'll play a whole softball tournament. Everyone else is shoving down food all day. And I'm like, no, I'm good. I just have the food from the night before. It's still in there. So tell me about the juice, because a quick story on the juice. All right. The juice is great, except if I have a swig of it before I go up to the plate in softball, I usually pop out. And I don't pop out that often, but it does happen because I get too jazzed up and then I just go for the homer rather than just try to hit a line drive. So tell me about the juice, because I explain it to people and I'm like, yo, that's your cheat code when you're fasting. I'm like, you can't fast. Like, I understand there's Ramadan and religion, Kyrie Irving, what he does. I'm not sure how much water he has. But the point is like, I need water and to keep my salt levels high. So I kind of describe the juice as like a natural organic Gatorade. So can you explain about what that is and how that helps?
Yeah, exactly. As you get into your sodium, potassium, those are your 2 main. Every cell in your body's got a sodium, potassium pump that are constantly interchanging. But that's muscular contraction. It does a lot of other stuff too. But that's the idea behind Gatorade, except Gatorade is basically sweet sugar water. It's got a little bit of the electrolytes, not nearly enough, especially if you're working out hard and you're sweating a lot. But it's essential when you fast. And even if people aren't fasting, I tell them, you should be upping your sodium. Like, that's one of the, if you're looking at fat loss, if you're looking at health, you should be taking in more sodium. Another lie we've been told is to keep sodium low. Now, I was looking back at a fat loss manual I put together back 10 years ago, 2012. And I was talking about sodium in that, and the juice formula, I learned from a guy, Cole Robinson, who's real big into fasting. But I knew about, really jacking up the sodium. Even back then, I would use stuff like a lot of soy sauce, pickles, stuff I had learned from my coach, Scott Abel, and whatnot. But it's essential. If, again, people don't want to fast, that those are 2 things I would tell them as far as nutrition: get more sodium and eat more fruit. If you don't want to fast, do those 2 things. Start adding those 2 things in. Real simple.